Within the child lies the fate of the future. Whoever wishes to benefit society must protect the child and observe his natural ways of acting. A child is mysterious and powerful and contains within himself the secret of human nature. Anyone who wishes to follow my method must understand that he should not honor me, but follow the child as his leader.
Well, I think traditionally people have thought of education as an experience, more or less structured, but an experience in which skills and the world of culture is given to the child, kind of poured onto the child. Montessori has a very different view of what the educational process should be. It was her observation that the child exhibited certain sensitivities to learning in a very predictable way. So her notion of education, as I see it, was to give the child an environment which fed these natural tendencies. That means that you feed the child items of culture, give them the possibility of acquiring skills, but then let the child's own interest direct him to what he prefers to do. In a Montessori classroom, you have the phenomenon of natural consequences operating. For example, if a child drops a glass, then the consequence is that he simply sweeps it up. It's not treated as something that was an offense against the class, but simply a mistake which is taken care of. Now, in terms of misbehavior among children, I found that the best way to treat it is to bring it before the class.
What if they keep on hitting you?
Walk away.
You can walk away, or you can say very firmly, "Don't hit me." Can you say that?
Don't hit me.
When these feelings are shared in the group context, in a way it kind of depersonalizes it, and it doesn't turn into a personal vendetta.
The liberty of the child should have as its limit the collective interest. And so we must check whatever tends towards rough or rude acts. But all the rest must not only be permitted, but must be observed by the teacher. There will come a day when the teacher will be filled with wonder to see children from 2½ to 6 years of age sit together and know how to control themselves so perfectly that the absolute silence seems that of a desert.
Shake off the sand. How many did you get? Pardon? Iron filings. You say iron filings?
Iron filings.
Dr. Montessori, when she was a small girl, always said anything except teaching.
You can imagine, as mentioned, the time, 1890, and the place, Italy. And the fact that there were no women doctors at that time. Not only there were no women doctors, but it was impossible to conceive of such a thing. And everybody was against it, including her own family. For instance, her father didn't talk to her for years while she was studying.
Alone. How much pain there is in this world. In order to understand it, you should know how much prejudice and jealousy exist in Rome. Women are not welcome in the university. They are tolerated. Women in the university are considered flirts, frivolous, and worse. The professors are accustomed to seeing their daughters attend Mass. The students are used to seeing their sisters at work at home and despise the women who study.
And in order to do some anatomy, she had to go down in the cellar where the cadavers was in order to be able to dissect or whatever work one had to do with a little petrol lamp.
I had to overcome the delicacy of my feelings and education. All of it always alone. I had to bring myself to work on the putrefied remains of an old man. How horrible death is when it begins to disintegrate a body.
Imagine. That was the difficult situation. In spite of that, when the examinations came and the prizes were allotted, she had the first prize. She had graduated with the fullest honors, above all the males who had taken medicine.
And there she discovered, to her human astonishment, I would say, that a group of comparatively small children were kept in a mental asylum and hardly looked after. And then she inquired why they were there and so on, and she found out that they were children whom today we call mentally defective, whom the homes couldn't cope with and the schools couldn't cope with, and the public authorities didn't want on the streets.
It was in those hospitals that I was first confronted with the child question. There were children of the poor by the hundreds in the hospital wards, and my heart and soul were deeply impressed by the conditions of those innocent victims. In them, I saw gathered together all the most vital social questions which appeared to me magnified as though seen through a powerful lens.
She felt that there was some sensitivity that was bringing the child to feel, to kind of understand. And so she felt that there was intelligence, there was basic intelligence, if only she could tap it somehow.
Once the examinations were finished and the results were known, it was an extraordinary surprise. It was an event, because nothing like that had happened. The professionals, after they verified the results, were not only skeptical, they didn't want to believe it, but they had to believe it because they saw it. And my mother also did not want to believe it. But for her, it was another point of view.
While everyone was admiring the progress of my retarded children, I was searching for the reason which could keep the happy, healthy children of the common schools on so low a plane that they could be equaled in tests of intelligence by my deficient pupils.
And that was, I think, a turning point in her life.
The room was simply furnished as if it were an office or a home. It was not bright and cheerful like those classrooms we see today. The children's tables were placed one behind the other like desks in a school. There were no flowers. I had no illusions that I could make any important experiments in such a school. In these circumstances, we began our life of peace and isolation. For a long time, no one noticed what we were doing.
Thinking of what she had done with her defective children, educate movement. So what were the kind of movement patterns that she could bring to these children? And the first thing that struck her was help them to become independent of doing and caring for themselves. And then it struck her that it was better that she asked for small chairs and small tables so that they could learn to move them and to sit in them and use them. See? So the idea of bringing things fashioned to the size of the child came to her. And so she started showing them how they could wash their hands, how they could blow their noses, how they could open and close doors.
And it was in that first environment, which was inaugurated on the Epiphany of 1907, that these surprising phenomena appeared of children who took interest in carrying out the tests, consequently also refused to give them back when the adult in charge thought it was enough. I've seen what I wanted to see, now you can give it back. They wanted to start working with it.
It was surprising to her also.
Very surprising to her. The other phenomena also, children concentrating, children of 3-4 years concentrating.
A child does not become weary with toil. He grows by working, and as a consequence, his work increases his energy. A child never asks to be relieved of his burdens, but simply that he may carry out his mission completely and alone. His life consists in the work of growth, since he must work or die. If adults do not understand this, they will never understand the work of children. We habitually serve children, and this is not only an act of servility toward them, but it is dangerous, since it tends to suffocate their useful, spontaneous activity. We do not stop to think that the child who does not do does not know how to do.
In Montessori work, I think more than any other kind of education, you can rest assured that a lot of learning is going to take place between the children. And often I've seen children come to a lesson which I was prepared to give them, and they would already have known it, and I didn't know about it.
Take what you need, okay?
In our society, we normally, in traditional education, segregate the children. All of the preschoolers are together, so all the first graders, all the second graders. Well, when you do that, you really eliminate the possibility of the younger children helping the older ones, and you eliminate the possibility of the older children being teachers or helpers to the young.
Let's do this one now. Try and open that one. Easy. I did it, my lady. Give it to me. Now close it. No, it's this way. Okay, now we're going to do another one. Try and open this one. Good.
In the traditional sense, teaching aids are those things which the teacher uses to amplify or expound a basic lesson. For example, if you're giving a geography lesson, the teacher may use charts or maps or pictures to help the children understand something. Well, Montessori teachers often use those things too as teaching aids. That is, things that will help the child during the duration of the lesson to understand what's going on. But Montessori materials are something very different. The didactic Montessori materials are materials used by the children, independent of the teacher. Now, this always involves a presentation where the teacher shows the child how to use the material. But it is never a dead end. After the lesson, the children are free to work with this material by themselves. Montessori felt that one should never give more to the mind than to the hand. And I think that's the beauty of the environment, because the child is never sitting passively receiving. He is always out there searching, grasping, arranging, rearranging, finding things out for himself. Many parents ask why, after 5 or 6 months in a Montessori school, their child is still polishing that silver, or still washing that table, or still polishing those shoes, still pouring that rice. Well, the fact is that all of the material here in the practical life section is designed not really to get the table clean or to get the shoes clean, but to help the child toward control of his body, with, in particular, his hand, to help him to understand that there is a sequence of operations when one is doing something. And incidentally, to give him skills in practical living that will enable him to function well in his family and in his society. But the child does not really do this for the good of the group until he arrives at the elementary age. Then at age 6 or 7, he cares for the pets, he washes the tables, he prepares the snack, because he is a member of the group and he is making a contribution.
Could you tell me the period, the era when man appeared?
Neozoic.
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 The passage to the second level of education is the passage from the sensorial, material level to the abstract. The child needs to classify and absorb the exterior world by means of his senses. The need for abstraction and intellectual activity makes itself felt around the 7th year.
Maria Montessori was perhaps the first great ecologist, 50, 60 years ahead of her time. And the curriculum that she developed for the elementary school level is really a curriculum in ecology. We help the children to see the relationship between animal and plant life, the work of the wind, the weather, the water, both from an evolutionary point of view through the study of geology, and also from the point of view of an ecosystem today and how human beings have the possibility of either supporting this system and cooperating with it or subverting it.
So anytime you are going to talk about PTO, it's going to mean little foot. It's going to be the foot of the leaf. Okay? Only this part which hook on the stem.
At the elementary level, the children are much more gregarious. They really love to work in pairs or in threesomes, foursomes. There's going to be, therefore, a lot more noise, a lot more activity.
When the children begin to be interested in the work and to develop themselves, a recurring phenomenon is the lively joy which seems to possess them. I did it all alone. You did not think I could have done that. I did it better today than yesterday. When they have learned to do some simple thing, all children show that pride we ourselves experience when we have really produced something novel.